Welcome to the Port Podcast. I am Mike Lake, aka Hillsboro Slim.
Yo, it's your boy CP34, aka the Big Dipper.
And today, Port presents Rebel to Die Art. Homie Rod in the building. What's up, man?
Hey, how you doing?
Welcome.
Welcome. How you doing?
I'm blessed, man.
Yeah.
I'm blessed.
Yeah.
Thanks for being here.
Well, thanks for having me.
I feel like you elevated the bar of the show a little bit.
I know.
Just a little bit.
I feel like you got another hat. You got a different hat for this.
Oh yeah, I felt like there's a little background story. If you mind if I tell the people?
I don't mind.
So the first hat I caught when Claude was trying to clown us at the AS for Art event, I ran into the homie. He had one on too, and we were just chopping it up. I'm like, yo, it's something new I want to try, different look. And you know what I'm saying? I was just kind of like hesitant. He was like, nah, you just gotta do it. Live it. Like be confident, just step out and just make it yours. After that, I was like, no turning back. I'm finna cop a bunch more and just do it. So thank you, homie. Thank you for putting me on.
Hey, you look great too, man.
Thank you.
I told you, gotta have that. You gotta have that swag. You gotta have the head for it too, though. So it's a combination of both.
Well, I don't particularly wear. I mean, to me, I ended up looking like I look like the Cherokee Kid if I wore a hat like that. But I did cop something. This just happened to be a coincidence that I noticed that you had these two. We're glasses friends here. I get mine on here. I don't even know how they work here. You hit the little button on the side, right?
Yeah.
Hold on. I'm inept. I can't figure out how to.
While he figures that out.
Shut up. There it is. There it is. I don't know if it'll show up on
what
camera.
What they doing?
Like that. There you go. I don't know how long I have these on before I get epilepsy.
So y'all both got these?
Yeah. Honestly, mine was a drunk buy. I was just on Amazon, and you know how Amazon be popping up stuff. It's just like, hey, look, why in the world would I need these? But you know what? I'm gonna get them because
pay it off today.
I'm a little tipsy, and fate.
Yeah.
You said that when you saw them, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I was part of the Robot Exchange show in St. Pete. Shout out to the Robot Exchange. It was an awesome show. And I had those glasses on because it was, participating and dressing in robot themes. So I figure I have something that, would bring a little robot essence to the whole festival. It was awesome. It really was.
I bought them because I was drunk. I love your story. Your story is way better.
His is way more sophisticated of a situation.
His is very sophisticated.
One's like, I was experiencing the culture. I was out living life. The other one's, I was just drunk. Hey, listen, man. But y'all both arrived at the same spot.
Yes, we did. That's all that matters, right?
Anyway, enough about us. Talk to us, homie. You brought your art. If y'all can't see, we got art pieces up here. Tell us about your art, man. I want the people to hear from you.
Okay. My art is all energy based. It's all about feeling. It's all about invoking positive emotions. I have a motto. I like to spread positive energy through creativity, one painting at a time. So, I do that with my art. It's abstract expressionism is how I choose to portray that message.
I'm feeling that.
Mm-hmm.
Dang, spreading positivity. I like it.
One thing I noticed with your artwork is that you mix media.
Absolutely.
Like that's your style, and then you always have a cityscape in the back. Mm-hmm. What is that? The same city every time, or is it something different? Is it an abstract city that you just kind of come up with, or is it what is that?
What you see is symbolism, and the symbolism has continuity in all of the painting and all of my artwork because all of the artwork is telling a story, it's telling a message. It has something behind it that it represents. Often I'm from the city.
Okay.
And often the city is where I choose to portray where the conflict is going on that needs to be addressed. My name is Rebel or Die. I believe in rebelling against oppression. And I believe that targeted in urban areas, getting people to be uplifted in their spirits so that they can make positive change in their urban neighborhoods. So I put those kinds of symbolisms in my artwork, and that way that's always a reminder of what the art truly stands for.
That's sick, man.
Damn.
That's sick. Let me grab your microphone.
No, sorry,
I'm a little soft.
No, you okay? Not at all.
It was just facing a little away from you.
Yeah, no, that is surprising though. Because you have a big presence, right? You walk like me. I walk into a room, people like all the time. They might think that I'm an aggressive person. Michael tell you, I'm definitely a kid cat.
Not aggressive.
Not even remotely aggressive. Well, I don't know. It depends on the situation. Somebody says something about the Bucks or Seminoles. I might jump out and try to hurt somebody. But yeah, no. Like what? So what? is your artists tend to have a persona
Mhm.
they usually put into their pieces.
Right.
Rebel or you know,
It's rebel or rebel.
rebel
Yeah.
or rebel.
To me, it's the same thing.
Are you a
Yeah,
rebellious
just flipping the
person?
word.
I believe in rebelling against oppression.
Okay.
So if something tries to oppress me
Uh-huh.
or oppress anything or anyone from being free,
Okay.
having the liberation to be free, I'm a rebel against that.
Okay.
So
Is that something that is always expressed on the artwork, or do you?
always,
Yeah.
I don't ever create art without that in mind because I believe that's my purpose. I believe that I'm here because I have a message to spread. And like you said, we some big guys. I'm soft spoken because it's not required for me to be loud.
Mm-hmm.
I
Damn.
believe less is more. I believe that there's power in silence.
Absolutely.
I believe that my message, I speak so loudly in my artwork that it's not required for me to have a voice that needs to overpower.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting. I was watching. Do you watch TV like that? I was watching Winning Time, the Lakers story.
Oh, I can't miss an episode.
So Kareem was talking to Magic,
Mhm.
and that was a convo that they had. I think he said very similarly. He said, you get power through your silence, your presence.
Mhm.
You don't always have to be the loud person in the room, and I think that's dope that you echo that not only in your art but just in your physical presence here. I saw you at the AS for Art. You were up there, you're smiling, you talking, shaking hands and stuff, but it's not ever anything like, look at me, I'm out here. You're more speaking through your art, like you said. That's dope.
I believe that, you know, being reserved, it's not something that it just comes with maturity. It comes with wisdom, and experience in life. I realized that listening is one of the ways you learn. If I'm speaking, how can I listen? And I'm not saying I don't speak. I speak. My wife can attribute to that. I speak a lot, and but I also learned that listening is very valuable.
Right.
It's a balance to this life, gentlemen, and you can't be all on one side of the scale, or it won't be balanced. You have to have a little of this and a little of that in order to run evenly.
That's it.
Yeah, no, that the level of imagery and message in your artwork. So at its face value, right? I can look at, say, the eagle or and these have names, right?
Yeah, that's actually a hawk. It's called
Uh-huh.
war hawk,
Okay.
and
then that
that's
one.
called energy unstoppable.
Damn.
Yeah.
But I'm just looking at it, right? Normally, and say I know nothing about art. I got no acumen whatsoever. I'm looking at it, I'm like, damn, what a dope ass picture of a rhinoceros. What a dope ass picture of a rhinoceros, man. Because I mean, the color, all the contrast, everything that you have in there, that's again, outwardly looking at it, it's like, damn, really dope ass picture of a rhinoceros. How do you want people to feel when they look at these things?
See, I call it my spirit animal series.
Mm.
And the reason why I say spirit animals, I'm a very spiritual person. And I believe that we're all connected by something divine. Whatever you choose to feel or call it, I believe that there's a higher power.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that animals have a connection to that spiritual power as
Absolutely.
well.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that plant life and all of the earth, and we're all connected. So when you look at a rhinoceros, you may not see the beauty in it. It's slightly snot coming out of its nose, or something nasty, it's smelly, or
Right
something
behind.
like that. But I chose to. Sorry, I mean.
No. I was moving my head so people could see the
I thought
rhino
I
as you
might
talk
have-
about it.
I choose
We
to
get it,
highlight
but-
I choose to highlight the beauty and the creatures, and what they inspire me. See, when a rhinoceros is in the Serengeti or it's on the plane, when it starts running, okay, everything moves out the way.
Better.
Okay, even a lion.
Even a lion,
Yeah.
Okay,
right?
and that
Right.
means that its energy is unstoppable.
Unstoppable.
So with this painting right here, when I wake up in the morning, okay, I got goals I want to achieve in life. Okay, so when I see this painting, it reminds me that when I'm coming, everybody move out my way.
Ooh.
Energy unstoppable.
That's
That's
hard.
what I want to provide for anybody that wants to purchase one of my paintings. I want you to look at it, and in the morning, it inspire you to be great, be your best self. We're human, but we can be inspired by other things. other things that share the same likeliness as us. And I can pull inspiration from a hawk. I can pull inspiration from a rhinoceros. I could pull inspiration from a lion, a tiger. And we have been. Muhammad Ali, I float like a butterfly, sting like a bee.
Yes.
We've been personifying animals for our own emotions to create that space that we need to thrive.
Hence the Spirit Animal series.
Correct.
I love that.
One thing that we as a people, and you already said this, not even just, when we say people, I mean people of the melanin nation. We derive a lot of our imagery. I remember I grew up with Anansi, the Spider-Man.
Absolutely.
Remember that? That was the story you got told when you were 5 years old.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? The trickster.
Absolutely.
And what was it? The fly in the ear. That told the lies and the things that. It was mosquito. Actually, I think it was. So we do often retell stories through animals, and this series is just super powerful. Because like I said, it could literally just be, hey, what a cool ass picture of a hawk. And a rhinoceros, and you got a leopard over there too.
Yeah,
that one is one of my favorites.
Yeah, and that it's just that there's something else behind it,
Yeah, well, that piece is particularly called laser focused.
Okay,
and I like to personify animals. I'm a big sci-fi geek,
as are we.
So I mean, I'm into Star Wars, Star Trek. I'm into all of the anything that has a monster and it's eating people. I'm basically with it. So I always try to put elements of my own genuine self in my art, and maybe someone can relate to it. So he's like shooting laser beams out his eyes.
Yeah.
It's a leopard with laser beams shooting out his eyes. And I get Cyclops from X-Men. I get Superman. I get these kinds of ideas. And I'm like a leopard shooting lasers out his eyes. And what is a leopard when it's usually on the plains of Serengeti? It's focused. So I laser focused.
Yeah.
Because every morning I wake up, I have goals that I'm trying to fulfill and accomplish in my life, and I'm laser focused. And that's directly why the spirit animals attribute to my spirituality. I can be creative and be in that space and still get a spiritual message that will inspire me.
I think. Go ahead, Mike.
I was gonna say you talking about the leopard, and I'm a big fan of big cats, and the leopard is up there
because you're a big cat.
I'm a big cat.
Big cat.
But the way they hunt, man, they're real stealthy. They're real patient. They sit in the cut. They hunt from the trees. They can creep up on you and pounce. But they strong and powerful when they make a move. Like you talking about that laser focus.
Yeah.
It's set in your sight. And then getting it done. I love that. Like you talk about how art speaks to me. And if I had the pennies, I get it. I ain't quite got the pennies right now, but I love that joint.
Well, I would say too, like also with a leopard is you usually it sees you before you see it.
Oh, absolutely.
Talk about laser focus.
You
know what I'm saying? So if it's already seeing you, it's a little too late, right?
Right.
If it decided you was food,
exactly.
And
that's how we hitting these goals.
Also, something that we learn from animals is the natural order of things, and that's something that, I believe that the best way to find God is through nature, because he created all of us and everything. So the closer you get to nature and the trueness of nature, the closer you get to God. I truly believe that. And I believe that, animals, they live within their purpose. That's why they're blessed. You ever seen an animal worried about something other than us infringing on their space?
On their space, right.
You got to understand that an animal's purpose is what it lives within. That's why it's blessed. Okay? A leopard is a leopard. It doesn't eat in excess. I've seen leopards help other animals. I've seen predatory cats not bother something that it would eat on a normal day because it's not hungry.
Yep.
Ooh.
Moving in your purpose. I love that.
So there's so much to be learned that's from nature, from animals that are right in our face. We can adopt some of these things because I believe that a lot of the technology, I believe that a lot of the things that we are involved in social media today, they distract us from what God truly is. Everybody wants to say, if you think God is real, hit like. Well, you got to understand that if you just
like God online,
if you take, I learned this from the Dalai Lama. If you take 10 minutes out your life and sit in silence every day, you'll be able to advance yourself. You'll be able to grow from within, and you'll be able to hear God talk to you directly. And all you required is just sit in silence for 10 minutes. You don't ever have an opportunity to not have anything in your ear. I just said earlier, it's power in silence.
Yeah.
So when you have the opportunity to be silent, that's when you can grow.
Be silent.
Because you don't have any distractions. We're distracted 24 hours a day. Why? What you distracting us from?
Yeah, what you hiding?
What is so important on a phone or on TV?
Yeah.
But the value of silence has completely went away, and that's how we advance ourselves. That's how we grow in our own minds. That's how we become better for us, so we can be better for other people. It's just by understanding that silence. And then those ideas come to us. See, you're not going to have it all figured out. But if you sit in silence, the idea can come to you.
Yeah, maybe that'll give it the space.
Yes.
Right. To
I mean, you can't. Your plate is full with distractions. How do you add the nutrients?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This man preaching.
He really is
preaching. How did you get into the whole art space? I'm figuring you've been an artistic guy from the jump. We talking middle school, high school. Like, how'd you get into this?
Wow, that's I know it might sound cliche, but I was born to do this.
If that's what it is, I believe it.
I mean, since I was a child, I was kind of like an art prodigy. Like, my talent was recognized very early at a very, very early age. I was in school and my attention would always be, remember dittos? They don't have dittos anymore.
No.
Remember dittos?
Yeah.
Well, they used to give us
busy work.
dittos.
Yeah.
Busy work.
Yeah. Hated busy work.
Keep the kids quiet work.
Yeah.
Well, I would turn it over and draw on it.
On the back of it, yeah.
And shortly after that, I remember one teacher conference, they brung her in, Chris isn't doing his work. So they said, my mom said, why are you not doing this? She said, that's not what we called you in here for.
Yeah.
They turned it over. And it was a beautiful landscape with a Oregon Trail. And I was in second grade.
Wow.
So, they put me in special classes for art. When I was at a very young age, it was like I had lab classes.
Mm-hmm.
I would go out and, I'd have the regular stuff that you have to have, gym and English, but then the rest, any other elective, I had nothing but art classes, So it was like that way.
I like that.
Yeah.
All the way up until... I pretty much graduated high school.
Mm-hmm.
When we were young, I would win several art competitions. I would always paint in our school. They would get me to design the logos of our middle school and high school and all of that stuff.
Wow.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah. Foster that early.
Yeah. So I've been doing art and participating in the art community my entire life in some way, shape, or form.
You think a lot of that is missed on our young artists today, though? Because I got that too. I drew a little bit, and I can never. This is not, I do the graphic art now, and I'm inspired through filmmaking and video and things of that nature. At this age in my life, when I was younger, I did a lot of painting and drawing too. And I had you had that one art teacher or that principal or that guidance counselor. Oh, there's something in you. Do you think that's missing right now with a lot of young artists?
For me, it was. I'll tell you right up. It was a lady named Miss Wright. She was a strong Black woman. She recognized early on in the Bloomfield public school systems. Okay, shouts out to Bloomfield, Connecticut. They groomed me, but that she was a strong Black woman who recognized that I had talent, and she made it her business to make sure that was groomed.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that with the way society is now, how it's a disconnect. Between even everyone's introvert, it's the new cool. So it's like no one has the skills to communicate with people without it being on the phone or through a chat
keyboard,
room,
right?
So it's like we're still it's necessary for us to have human contact, interaction, and that's what life is. Life is interaction with other people.
Yeah, and
I believe that the teachers nowadays have adjusted to what kids currently are. And if that's the dynamic that they have to deal with, it's very difficult to try to be impressionable to a child who is distracted.
Yeah.
Wow. We didn't have that. I'm talking from a perspective of a person that lived through the 90s and the 80s when we didn't have the type of distractions that they have now.
Yeah.
There wasn't handheld social media device. I had a Game Boy, but that ran out of batteries.
Right.
Here, they charge it back up and it never stops.
Like 8 batteries, 8 AA or something crazy.
Game Gear. My mom gave me time for that.
Yeah.
But then there was a time where that stopped.
Yeah.
And it's almost as if you just replug your phone and it never stops.
Hey man, when the batteries ran out of that Game Boy, you was done for a little while.
Right?
It was done for a little while.
You probably was off that for about a week.
I see kids becoming further and further disconnected. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, he said that every generation knowledge is lost.
Mm.
Okay, you can factor in why he said it or how it goes across, but it's true. Every generation knowledge is lost. So we're in a space where kids are distracted more than they ever been.
Mm-hmm.
How do you pass on something to someone who doesn't see the value?
Yeah.
That's a hard one I have with my son.
Yeah,
Mine too.
Trying to explain value to somebody who just has no
they
concept.
don't have any concept of it.
What that
There's
is.
no concept of value for anything outside of the distractions that they are presented with on a daily basis. And I believe that that's creating a culture of numbness to real world things.
Right.
You know?
Damn.
I fully agree, man. Seeing these kids deal with any minimal crisis, just the tiniest minor thing, becomes a whole inquisition because they didn't get adversity outside like us. They didn't get hurt. They're not out there getting sunburned, getting in fights, and not any of that's necessary, but it happened. We all grew up in it. Like you said, 80s, 90s, just being outside.
Right.
With a little bit, we had TV. We didn't have 7 streaming services with hours and hours.
Thousands of channels.
We had 50 channels, and we watched it when we were home. And then even that would go off at a certain point. So
if you had that, because some of us even have cable,
I had pliers on the TV, but this ain't about me. This ain't about me. One thing I think would be cool, and we talked a little bit before the show, I was saying that even us here being digital creators would like to connect with the younger generation or anybody. They may have some distractions, but the cell phones offer other opportunity, like TikTok, making whatever type of videos. I see dancers and comedians and people existing in different artistic spaces. It just might not be the masses, and that is worrisome. I don't know what we do about that.
What can we do?
I
will say this. I did want to ask you something. This is not off topic. This is actually something that we talked about on our live version of the show. There was a situation with the Black Lives Matter leaders. They bought a house. House doesn't matter. What they said they used it for, what they were going to use it for, was for Black creators. It was going to be a space for Black creators to come and work on their art. I think we determined it was going to be visual artists, musical artists, things of that nature. And then a lot of people were upset about that because they felt, well, this is money that can go towards protests and organizing. What's your thoughts on that as a Black creator that could technically benefit from that type of program or foundation? What do you feel as far as the priorities with something like that?
Well, when I look at, how I should feel about something, I often look to reference the past.
Okay.
So that I can build off of something. So protests are important. They are.
Yeah.
Okay. But one thing I have noticed about them is that from the past, that's what has always been our response. So when I look at our response, I don't ever see change. I just see protests.
Yeah.
And actually, I see with the protests, now they're becoming more hazardous for us.
Absolutely.
Versus back when, we were taking steps forward from the dogs and the hoses. Now it seems that, we're right back to square one.
Yeah.
Okay. So if protests have been the approach that we historically taken and our results aren't the same, I mean, the definition of insanity is trying the same thing over and over again, expecting different results.
Yeah.
And so I don't want to be considered an insane person.
Right.
So what I would like to do is try something different.
I got you.
So if you offer an alternative that maybe we can reach people through creativity and spread positivity through creativity, but that's actually the motto of my company. If that's what we do, it's possible. Very possible that we can touch people in a way that's never been touched before. We never addressed the creative side. We never addressed the arts. One thing I could say about the LGBT community, because they're a large portion of the creative community.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that somehow through everything that they're going through, they found a way to eliminate racism.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's being overlooked.
Wow.
Their issue
They
supersedes
found
race.
a way
Yeah.
to eliminate racism.
Damn.
Because they don't ever harp on color. You either us or you ain't.
Yeah.
I mean,
they don't have a problem with the ain't. It's the ain't having a problem with them.
Damn.
Absolutely.
Damn.
So where I'm at is as a heterosexual, we're part of the LGBTQ
alliance. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You understand?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We won, and the minute that we add our letter to the mix, is when we can stop racism and we go forward, because they're advancing things amongst their community, and we're actually getting left behind as heterosexuals because we don't want to accept.
Damn.
It's the truth.
Man, spit.
I mean, I've never been one, because if you want a political answer, you got me at the mic, and it's the wrong guy.
I was about to say moment of silence for the truth, because you just killed that motherfucker.
I tell the truth. That's what I do.
Yo.
I'm unapologetic.
I love that.
I'm feeling that.
Yeah, I'm feeling that too. No, it's just kind of one of those things where, it was a short discussion. We didn't talk too long about it, but I think they need to hire you, because I don't think in any of the articles that I read or anything that I actually read about the situation, they didn't really mention the fact that protests are awesome, because everybody wants to go protest. Mm-hmm. Everybody wants to wear the shirts and the hashtags and the everything above. Get it tattooed on them and painted on the ground and stuff like that. But nobody's wanting to have that honest conversation that, well, what do we do next? How do we do this differently? How do we get it across to people? Because, even the protests, they took it as a negative. It was turned into a negative.
Absolutely.
How do you turn a beautiful painting into a negative thing?
And let me explain something to you about art, to add to what you're saying.
Yeah.
During times of war, you've had soldiers that risked their life to save artwork.
Mm.
You've had trash men take art out the garbage and put it in the cab, because art don't get thrown away.
Yeah.
Art don't get destroyed. We've had paintings that survived World War I, World War II. Mm-hmm. They ain't bombing the museum.
Yeah.
Well, tell me to lie.
Right.
These paintings are hundreds of years old in the Wadsworth Atheneum. Hundreds of years old. Survived world wars because people value creativity.
Damn.
People value art. Before it was TV, before it was radio, art, theater, music, paintings was the leading measure of entertainment.
Yeah.
And it still is, because I promise you, art is the only thing that matters to people who are wealthy. I ain't saying rich.
Wealth.
I mean wealthy.
Yeah.
And I'm explaining to you. I know it sounds a little weird, but give me an opportunity.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Give
me an opportunity.
You have the mic.
I'm going to school you to
That's
something.
your mic.
I'm going to school you out to something.
Go ahead.
Put them all.
Let me tell you why art is so important. Because when you've reached a certain level of money, for lack of a better word, wealth, bank account, okay, I can buy a Maserati.
Right.
So can you.
Absolutely.
Right. I could buy a mansion. So can you.
Right.
So these material things start losing their luster because someone else can have it. But there's only one Basquiat. There's only one.
Yeah.
There's only one Monet. There's only one Picasso. And I got it.
Right.
Yeah.
So
you're right.
At my house.
You're absolutely
so if y'all
right.
want to be at the garden party with the Basquiat's being featured, the one of one, the only one on earth,
come to my mansion.
Come to mine. And I bet you every other trinket that these people that are wealthy have means nothing.
Right.
No one's at your garden party to see your Maserati.
That's true, because I can have the exact same Maserati.
Because we have the same amount of money. You got 1.2 billion, I got 1.3.
I can see that and buy
it. So it's about the rarity of the item now. Art is the rarest thing in the world. Art is all that matters to the super wealthy. I hope you got that.
Yeah.
Damn.
So if you are in the business of art, there is no ceiling, because art is how much someone's willing to pay for it. I saw 2 years ago at Art Bezzy, a banana duct taped to the wall sold for, I don't know, $100 million.
I remember that.
Yeah,
I remember that.
It was big money.
Yes. Like a real banana.
Banana joint in Miami, right? Yeah.
So, I mean, and that's just, that's goofy.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, that's beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Art is in the eye of the beholder. That still came out of somebody's bank account. That's still real money.
Damn.
So people who are wealthy don't want something that you have. It's about the rarity of it. It's about the stuffed deer with the 17 pointer on my wall.
Yeah.
You can't come by this. You can't get that nowhere.
Yeah,
it's about this rare Monet that I bought at auction for $2 million. Yeah, you got $2 million, sure, but you don't have this
that
Monet.
That's true. How much money do you think I can get if I duct tape Mike's big ass to the wall?
Just me?
Just you with the
I
hat.
think it'd be pretty valuable.
Yeah,
I think so too.
Can I talk to? I can.
Yes,
like,
the whole
it's
performance
like
art.
living art.
Yeah, they gotta feed you too. So
Hey, that's new.
You know,
we did any living NFTs yet? We might need to do that.
I know.
Otherwise known as kidnapping.
Or slavery. Violations of the.
Can I come down now? No,
no, sir, no.
You're my art piece.
Yeah.
Speaking of living art, you had a clothing line.
This is true.
And was that, I believe that was a catchphrase. It was fashion, living art, or moving art. It was something.
Wearable art.
Wearable. There you go.
Live free, be fly. Let me match your fly. Rebella.
So you said it way better than me.
Yeah, I believe in living free. And I had got the idea a few years back, around 2018. I started picking up a little steam.
Mm-hmm.
So I just made a few clothes, just put them out there, and they just really took off. So I put it on pause for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I focused back on the art. I went through a little downtime. And then I just, by chance, it was time. I asked who wanted what shirt. I just put it out there, and it just went nuts.
Again.
Wow. I mean, it was overwhelming. So I make clothing that have a similar effect as my artwork.
Okay.
It has the message that my artwork embodies, and you just walk around with it on your
That's
chest.
so hard.
Wow.
Yeah. So, it's the same energy. You just get to bring it out the house.
And that's one of one.
Yeah, one of one. I don't ever. I make, people have asked me to make a shirt. Oh, I've seen this shirt. Can you make something like it that you made? I make it. I'll do it, but it'll always be something different
because
I only do one of ones.
Yeah, and because there's a lot of artists that get called sellout. They're a sellout because they mass produce their shit. Sellout. So they're sellout. No, I just made up a word. It's a sellout if you mass produce your artwork. If you even let it be printed. Is that how you feel? Is that selling out, or what is that?
I mean, honestly, I love to sell out. You can see.
Give me that
I
check.
sell every last painting I have. I tell you that right now.
Yo.
See, the thing about art is, novice come into this game, and they still are playing by rules.
Okay.
And when you have found your way, you realize art has no rules.
Mm-hmm.
I used to spend 3 months on a painting, and nobody even see it. Nobody cared.
Jeez.
I tried to sell it for what I felt it was worth. Nobody even wanted it for free. And I spent 3 months on it. Because it doesn't matter what you feel. The people dictate the value. The people tell you how much they're willing to pay for it. Okay? And when it comes down to prints and one of ones, the people determine whether or not your work is hot. So if you're making prints and the people didn't tell you your work is hot, then you just wasted money.
Yeah.
But if your work is hot, prints are valuable for you.
That's true.
Because this is still a business. And that's what mine is. Mine is a sustainable business. And that's where I want to make it into generational wealth.
Yeah.
I want this to last further than my lifespan. So that's my goal. So, where people have these goals, you sell artwork and this is what you do for a living and you make good money. That's not good enough.
Yeah, it's got to go beyond.
It's not good enough.
Yeah.
Anything you do in this life, you're supposed to be able to take care of your wife, your family, your bills. So that might be a good enough goal for someone else, but that's not good enough for me.
Right.
I didn't do this to compete with my job, my 9 to 5.
Right.
I did this to create something that will grow beyond my lifespan.
That. Yeah.
And so if making prints gets me there, fine. Because the people dictated that my prints were valuable.
Yeah.
Okay. When people say sell out, art has no rules. So I've seen people cut out newspaper clippings, glue it the paper to a canvas, put resin on it, and everybody loved it. The consumer doesn't care.
Yeah.
That's true.
The only person that cares Oh, and this is art critiques.
right.
They the only ones.
Or your
Yeah,
competition.
And art is subjective,
and their
so, you know, who
competition,
cares?
it doesn't. There isn't no competition,
Yeah.
because you as a consumer can buy my painting and buy his too.
Oh, true.
That's
You know,
true.
so
True.
we can have the same customer. You see how open it is?
Yeah.
That's
why there are no rules.
There are no
There are
rules.
no rules.
Right.
If I draw, I can put a banana on a canvas with duct tape.
You gotta.
Okay.
You trying to put
Then
one of these?
you mad at Prince? You know.
That's true.
You see what I'm saying?
You're right, right.
Somebody just paid $100 million
For a banana
with duct tape.
You know,
So
so
if I print that, you know, and
Yeah.
sell those off on mugs or shower curtains, or that's all helping me get to my goal.
Yeah.
So I'm with it.
Because I think about that kind of threw me back a little bit, because you hear so much, and I think is it the young artist ideal that there's rules.
Yeah.
Is that the problem? Is that they think that there's rules in this shit?
And that's because they haven't. I told you they're novice.
Yeah.
Yo, the pandemic woke things up in people. People decided that they wanted to pursue unconventional ways of earning income, being laid off and all that.
Because the conventional ones dried up.
Yeah.
People started realizing I have talent.
Yeah.
You know? So now they get into the situation where they want to sell their artwork and they just don't know how to approach it. They don't know where to go with it. They don't know how to find a style, how to find a lane. Who's judging me? Is this good enough?
Right.
But it's all about you and what's your motivation. Me, I'm trying to establish generational wealth.
Right.
So therefore, no one's going to stop me. So I'm going to make it, or I'm going to die. Rebella dies my name.
So
That's where I'm at with
we talk about no rules. Now, are there street rules, if you will, to stuff like plagiarism, copying, recreation, anything like that?
Absolutely not. You now in the professional world, plagiarism is real. I see people painting people's work all day. Stan Lee would be a gazillionaire.
That's true.
True.
I mean, look, every time I'm at a show, there's someone that has DC or Marvel characters in their work.
That's true.
Minnie Mouse, Mickey Mouse, that is copyrighted material.
But are you talking about more like style?
I meant like from person to person. Let's say I wanted to do something and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna paint a warhawk, or I'm gonna get a laser focus and I'm gonna put a cheetah with the eyes.
Well, then you're biting my style.
That's what I mean.
As if we was hip hop and you started taking pieces of my verse.
You gonna run up on me?
I ain't gonna run up on you, because honestly, if I didn't make cheetahs, I came up with the idea of putting laser eyes coming from it. But if it inspired you, just somebody bought my painting anyway. It doesn't stop anything I do. I'm not a selfish man. I didn't make cheetahs. I didn't create laser beams. I just decided to put them together.
Yeah, but I feel like that's your intellectual property at this point, at least between me and you. Maybe not on a mass scale, because DC, whatever, who cares?
Right.
Disney got it, DC got it. But you working, and for me to recreate that in my own image, especially if I'm an artist and I do it well. I'm not, by the way, but if I do it well and it's literally a recreation, let's say I sold mine and you ain't sold yours. Maybe I stole your buyer. I could see it getting not necessarily physical, but I could see it being contentious.
You can never steal my buyer.
I love the confidence.
No, you can never steal my buyer. My buyer comes from a rod piece. You can steal the concept, but you're not a rod.
Yes.
So you can't create a rod piece. You can create a cheetah with laser beams coming out his eyes, but you can't create a rod piece.
Yeah.
Only I know how to do that. So you can never steal my customer, because they can buy yours and still get me to do a laser beam.
And now they got two.
They got one by him and they got a rod.
I'm feeling that.
So I'm never going to feel a certain kind of way, because my blessings don't stop. My blessings don't stop. So if I inspired you, that's the ultimate compliment.
Right.
That's the ultimate compliment, because between me and you know where you got your inspiration.
Yeah.
So that's better, actually, because then when I believe the truth come to light.
Yeah.
When it does come to light, it could take 10 years.
It'll come
out. You got that from Rob.
Well, and it's like the Elvis complex, right?
Dates on stuff too.
You know, we all know Elvis. He performed well-known or lesser-known black musicians.
Well, Chuck Berry.
Yeah,
Chuck Berry. Chuck Berry actually is the king of rock and roll. We won't go down. That's another episode. But Little Richard actually said, I wasn't actually mad at Elvis, because what Elvis actually did was put the black sound, our sound, on the radio. And so when we were performing, it wasn't like we're copying Elvis. It's you got that sound. And so now the sound is out there, because the sound is out there. It makes it more. Now the masses have our sound, and so we're now able to benefit from that.
And that's to me, that's smart. That's acceptance. That's understanding where you at and how to manipulate the situation.
Yeah.
You got to understand that a rising tide raises all boats.
Mhm.
Okay. So the fact that no, it wasn't right that Elvis Presley took other people's style and ran with it.
Right.
But what happened from it, you can pull a positive out of.
Yeah.
See, I tend to focus on the
The
positive,
yeah.
because that's what I want my life circle navigated around. Positive energy. Negative energy is always going to be there. That's the balance of this world. But I take myself and I put it on the positive.
Yeah.
You can look at your glasses half empty. That's fine. You have that space and freedom to. Okay, and I encourage you to be free. But I look at my glasses half full. And if the fact that Elvis took Chuck Berry music, now a sound that might have never got heard because they're black and they cannot play their music on the radio, now that it mirrors something that Elvis stole, now they're like, listen, we can listen now. Little Richard's on the radio.
Yeah.
Now Frankie Lyman's on the radio.
Yeah.
Now these guys that would have never got the opportunity. Sometimes you have to pull the positive out of the negative, or you can live in the negative, and that'll be your business.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, but I pull the positive out of it. I started to see, they killed George Floyd. They killed him. They kneeled on his neck. It was a negative, but it brung us together. You got to look at things for both sides of the balance, and that's how you find inner peace.
Love that.
Wow.
Hey, we know he's coming here to preach, bro.
Yo.
I'm sorry if I mean.
No, I love it. I love it. I love
it.
it.
No.
Nah,
do it. Give it to him.
This is I can't be
No.
creative and not be spiritual.
Absolutely.
You need a microphone.
If you got a creative that's not spiritual, I won't buy their work.
That's true. I feel that. I did want to ask, Mike. Did you have something?
No,
I did want to ask specifically about your process, right? Because we haven't talked about that yet. But you said 3 months on. You used to do 3 months.
Yeah.
Walk us through your process. Walk us through your timeline. How long does it take? How do you make it happen?
Well, I like music. I like to listen to jazz music when I create. So half of it is just creating an environment. The actual painting itself, it takes very little time. Okay. Everything you see is like a controlled chaos.
Yeah.
So that takes very little time. The actual getting myself in that zone is the value, that's the importance. I have to light candles. I have to put incense. I have to listen to Common or Talib or some 90s Erykah Badu.
Yeah.
I have to put on music that make me feel. And once I feel, then I look at the canvas.
Yeah.
And then, I organically start creating,
Man, that's dope.
Yeah.
My wife come home, she see the candle, she like, bro, I'm painting again.
Oh, yeah.
I'm painting again.
That's true.
I got to go in here and not mess up the vibe.
My wife see candles when she come home. She be like, no,
Blowing
not
by.
today. I got a headache.
She blowing the candles up?
She like, it's done.
So when we met back at AS for Art, you were working on, you had I'm not going to call it Africa series. I don't know the name, but it was a series of Pan-African and urban combination. Is that something that was just a series, or that's permeating? Hell, I can even see it kind of in here with the animals, the specific ones you choose. Is that something that's always ongoing?
Ongoing. Right now, the series is on display at 22 South in St. Petersburg. That Manhattan Side Casino is going to be there through June 1st. It's the Afro-Urban Indigenous Art Series.
I'll check it out.
My Afro-Urban Indigenous art is pretty much inspired by bringing awareness to indigenous culture, showing that there is really no difference between us and former indigenous nations.
Yeah.
The only thing that separates us is time.
Yeah.
Okay. So what I try to depict is tribal people and give them modern day looks to kind of bridge the gap to show that we're all one. And I also take influence from all different sorts of indigenous cultures, what African nations, North American Native Americans, Tainos that are Caribbean, Caribbean nations. I kind of fuse and give like one centralized look, like a Wakandian almost.
That's the vibe I got.
That's the vibe I kind of get from it. And I make candid depictions of them in everyday life. Staring with gleams of pride.
That was
family depictions. Standing with confidence, and I wanted these depictions to make you feel what I feel about myself. I want you to feel that way. I want you to feel that self-pride, that self-love, and I wanted to have depictions that you can see that, hanging on your wall. When you walk into somewhere, I unapologetically display these, even when it's unpopular. I've been in scenarios where people were offended by my artwork. And my job is to spread positivity through creativity. So people are offended that I was proud.
What they offended?
Was it the topless one?
No.
Oh, okay.
That actually,
that did well.
just offended at the notion of self-love.
Oh.
And that is a real thing.
Yeah.
Negative, evil nonsense.
Right. But remember,
how dare
there
you
is
be
a
proud?
balance.
Yeah.
And sometimes the negative side is just as abundant and clear as the positive.
Is there a limit? Is there a limit? And I just want to ask,
what?
and not this question for him, not you.
I'm curious what you mean by your question, so he can answer properly.
Is there a limit? Because with all of the things that they're trying to take depictions of nudity in books out of schools, right? All that craziness, which is absurd because the Bible talks about nudity and incest from page 1 to page n. It's crazy, but they're trying to take the idea of art is being questioned so much. What about nudity? And because you see something, there's some things that are just out there. The banana taped to a wall is one thing.
Keep going back to the bananas.
But
there's a lot of money spent on that.
Right. But there's a lot of things too that involve nudity or negative imagery, all these different things. Do you believe art should have some type of limitation?
No, not at all. Because that would totally go against it being free.
Yeah.
Art is supposed to depict life. There's nudity in life. There's violence in life.
Absolutely.
There's sexuality in life.
If you got a good life, there's a lot of sexuality.
Yeah, that's true. So you got to understand that art can never have a cap, because if you cap art, you cap life. So where does the rules end? I mean, we're not supposed to believe people are nude. So if there's depictions of it in art, that's just depictions of life. Violence is in life. There's violence depicted in art.
Yeah.
Art isn't just visual on a canvas. It's in music. It's in
movies,
television.
TV,
Art is all around us. And without art, most of the time with the distractions that people have, they wouldn't even know how to imitate life. What you draw them as your inspiration.
Yeah. That's true.
You need art.
That's such an interesting concept, because I think people look at art and they try to make a determination of what art is. And it's so interesting to hear an artist like yourself say that, because like I said, there's some people would say pornography is art. I say, why not?
Yeah,
it is.
Why the hell not, isn't it?
Why not?
Why not?
Absolutely.
But I think, and I've talked about this before on a couple different shows that we had, is just because you're offended by it doesn't make it not the thing that it is.
Correct.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Because you don't like it.
True. Thomas said, if I don't like it, I don't like it. I don't mean I'm hating.
There you go. Absolutely.
That's something that's always been a struggle, like he said, within music. Try to censor freedom of speech, people on microphones. What can and can't be talked about, what should and shouldn't be talked about in certain areas is.
Why are we avoiding talking about anything?
I have no idea.
So by avoiding to talk about it, are you admitting that you lack inner peace? Do you lack that you don't have the mental fortitude to have a conversation about uncomfortable topics? Is that what you admit? If that's the case, there's a place for you, and it's not at the big boy table.
Those are kids.
It's generally those same people, though. It's the people who are trying, like you said, you're about freedom and spreading positivity through your art.
Yes.
You have your people who are trying to trying to restrain, hold things back, try to control it, gatekeepers, if you will.
Right.
And it's a lot of the times a lot of the same people who tell you can't have an abortion, people who tell you can't preach God in school, that these people are generally the same group of people. And I'm not an artist in the format that you paint and live in, but I believe we create digital art, and that if we want to talk about something as dumb as pornography on a podcast, that our voice is our art, and we can speak that, because not only do we live it, I'm talking about something I might really do. I might really watch porn. That
not Mike.
But even if you don't,
why are you lying?
I can still talk about it.
Yeah.
Gatekeepers are kind of holding us back, and they would restrict. They'd be the ones who restrict art, books, movies, and those people just, I don't want to call them hateful or evil, but it's like, if it's not what I want, then I don't want anyone else to have it. It's a weird kind of thought process. What do you think about? I don't want to say the Republicans, but that's what I'm talking about.
Uh-huh.
I'm thinking about that
Well,
group of people,
I think that
conservatives.
I don't. If you give people power, then they have it.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have rules on how I live my life and how I handle my business because it doesn't matter. It's just between me and the customer. The customer wants the artwork, I sell it, and that's that. So I believe that if we simplify things, stop overthinking, you'll eliminate the hypocrisy that you live amongst. You eliminate the hypocrisy if you just simplify your thought process. It doesn't have to be so serious. It doesn't have to be so exaggerated on its significance. It doesn't. All you have to do, honestly, is stay true to yourself. If you got a core of principles and a moral compass, you don't have anybody to prove anything to. You know who you got something to prove to? Yourself.
Yeah.
Because when I look up and I can wake up and I have my beautiful residency, I have my wife, I have my children, they straight, I have my self-sustaining business, then I say, who I got something to prove to again?
Right.
Like who?
When
I don't have this stuff, is the people that I have something to prove to going to throw me a couple bucks?
Probably not.
Hey, you got a lifeline for me, buddy?
Right, that's
you
true.
care a lot, don't
You're
you?
right. You're right.
Worried about what I do,
you
right?
controlling
So
everything.
how about this?
Absolutely
When
right.
I'm not doing well, keep that
Hit
same
me up.
energy.
Yeah.
Then that's not the case. Since that'll never be the case, you'll never have my attention on why I feel I should care about your feelings.
Damn.
So we talked about you mentioned you were in a gallery,
Yes.
and I saw you out there taking pictures and stuff. I might actually get out there and check it out. That's in St. Pete.
Yeah.
Do you have any goals for your art, your business being self-sustainable, to keep going, get bigger galleries? Like what are your goals in this?
Immediate, I have a 5-year goal. I'm reaching $1 million. That's something I put out there on a daily affirmation. And I
Can
don't
you put that
have
out there for me too?
Can we be on that?
Whisper my name in
well, I didn't want no more, no less. I believe that the universe is surrounded by energies, man. And if you pinpoint what you want, even in religious places, they tell you pray to God, you pray specific for what you want.
And you claim it.
I don't want $1,001. I don't want 999,000.
Right.
I want $1 million, and I have my mind set on that mark. And within 5 years, that's what I want to achieve.
Right.
So in that 5 years time span, whatever that it takes
to get to that,
to get there, I'm going to accommodate.
Well, and the Bible does say prayer without works is dead, and you definitely working.
Oh yeah.
So I believe it.
I try to be everywhere.
Yeah.
And I mean that. I try to be everywhere.
You are everywhere.
Yeah.
Because I was going through, and I follow you. I've been following you since we met that day. The AS for Art was where we saw you. Jazz at Under the Stars, a Black art gala at Straz.
Yeah, that was a beautiful event.
The Creative Pinellas, is that where you are now, Botanical Gardens?
I had my own feature there last month.
That was his feature.
Yeah, at the African American Heritage Festival.
Yeah.
That was a great event. I was honored to be invited to that. I had my Afro-Urban Indigenous Art Series on display there. And I try to not miss an opportunity.
I think that's key, right? And we've had some homies that are in the industry, artists and hip-hop artists, that have said that if you're not out here,
how the
hell are they supposed to know about you?
This is true.
If you're not out here, if you're not at all of the events and things, and we try to live by that too. Mike is usually putting the fire under my ass. Hey, we need to go do this.
I came from an event before we did this today.
Right.
Running around trying to be visible.
I think that's a message for all of the would-be or the in-it artists, whatever you're trying to break out into. If you're not out here where they're having things, how in the hell are people supposed to know who you are?
Right.
So you just got to get out there. That's step number one, right?
That's the first step.
Yeah.
Not the first step.
Right.
The first step is acknowledging this is what I want to do.
Right.
And then it's acting on it. So that's a key step. It's not the first one, but it's key. Getting out there. It's artists that make a whole bunch of paintings. It depends on what you want to do with this. They make paintings just for them, and they keep them in their house. But if you want to I got a message with my art. And I can't spread positivity through creativity.
Yeah.
Staying in the house.
In your house.
Yeah.
I've never been to your house.
You have a real positive house, but
I seen your art. I've never been to your house.
Yeah.
You definitely got to get out there.
Yeah.
We would love if anything we could do at any point, especially like doing this interview, putting your name out there, showing up at events. Maybe we could plan an event together or something.
Sure.
I would love to help push that positivity. And you, bro, have been, since we met, I feel real connected to you, man. I want to help in any way that weekend.
And it ain't just the
brother.
hats. And I'm gonna get.
No, that's what started.
He told me I couldn't get one though. He told me
I didn't say you
I don't
couldn't.
have the head for it on.
I said you just couldn't wear that. Oh, it ain't up there no more. I was gonna say you couldn't wear the Indiana Jones
hat.
Yeah, you gotta get the Brixton fedora or whatever the style you want.
Well, see, I get in the hats.
Hats are useful.
Yeah.
And bro, your fashion on 10, bro. I see you with the lion.
But let's see that.
And the rings.
Look at that.
That's sick.
Yo.
I love animals.
Yeah. Was there anything that you wanted to real quick? You've already kind of promoted what you earlier in the show you were talking about your residency. But put it out there real quick and let everybody know where they can find you, where they can find your artwork.
Absolutely.
All of the above.
I'm all over the Tampa Bay area. As these guys said, I try to stay active in the community. I'm right now currently have artwork up in Lakeland at the Kelly Recreational Centers, all the way to St. Petersburg at the Manhattan Casino, and anywhere in between. I can be found in Ybor, all over Tampa Bay, but digitally, my Instagram is at Rebel or Die Art. I do have an email, trinitycjnoah@gmail.com. These are two of the ways that if you are interested in some of this spirit animals or some of my Afro-urban indigenous art, or if you just want to reach out and communicate, donate, any of these things, you can reach out that way. That's at Rebel or Die Art on Instagram. That's primarily how I promote my content.
And we'll link it on our IG as well. So that if you guys want to check them out, you'll be able to check them out directly from the Port Podcast.
Yeah, man. Truly. Thanks for being here. The Port presents Rebel or Die Art. Y'all like the homie.
Absolutely.
And I you just go by Rod, right?
Yeah,
Rod, I was calling you Rod the whole time.
Rebel or Die.
Yeah,
that's
ROD.
an acronym for it.
Yeah. Okay.
I love that.
Oh, yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
You just got it.
Yeah.
Yo. How do we acroname our names? Make it like sound good.
We'll do it later. We'll do it
okay,
later.
never mind.
We ain't cool enough.
It's gonna be like ASS.
Yeah.
Just
That's ass. Don't stand for nothing.
But thank you for being here, man. I when we talked that day, I was like, yo, we got to do an interview or something. And I appreciate you stepping out. I'm sure you're a busy man. Thank you for the wife for being here too. Thank y'all both.
That's my rock. She's always with me.
No.
She might not be on camera, but she always with
somewhere.
me.
Somebody needs somebody standing in the shadows.
Absolutely.
I think I figured it out too. I was talking about earlier. Somebody steal your art? Are you gonna run up? You said no, real peacefully. But I think this should run over there.
Yeah.
I think.
She already got
She
him.
might get you.
She already got him. She's good.
It makes sense now. He's like, no, I'm peaceful. She over there like, steal some art if you want to.
Sometimes Mama Smoke. I gave her a little nickname.
Oh,
sometimes she just makes sure that her family taken care of.
I like it.
And that's a blessing.
That's great. I love that. All right. Well,
thank you, man.
We'll get on. I appreciate you coming anytime.
Thank you,
anytime you're welcome here. Come pour up with the Pour Up Podcast. So who are you?
Well,
first of all, who are you? Who are you?
I'm Rebel or Die Art.
And who?
I appreciate you.
I am Mike Lake, aka Hillsboro Slim.
Yo, it's your boy CP34, aka the Big Dipper. Let's get out of here.
The Port presents.
Yeah.
Cut.